Hey artists! It's been cold and wet and rainy outside, which makes it a perfect studio day. And like I promised you guys a while ago, we get to do 2 projects with the loom that we created for our wampum beads. So let's take a look at everything we will need. Okay, so you remember the cardboard loom. Some of this will be review, but that is okay. So I had the cardboard loom, I had my scissors, some tape, and then I picked out a bunch of different yarns. And this is perfect thing for you to ask for, maybe if you go to a community center or to church or to a Boys and Girls Club, because you want lots of options, okay? And I got us some really cool different ones that have different colors or textures that are part of them, or even change colors like that one. But let me do the review for the loom part before we get started on everything else. Okay, artists, now the review for the loom. Remember that we cut 6 small slices into each end. 3, 4, 5, 6, and now the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So once we have our 6 slices, you want to pick a yarn that is really sturdy, and that yarn will be the yarn that we weave on. The technical term for that is warp, W-A-R-P, our warp thread. So what weavers call this technique is warping their loom. So we're using the cardboard as our loom. I'm using this cream colored yarn as my warp. So I secure it to the back, and then I put it into slot 1 and then slot 2 as I wind it around into each slot. I should end up with 6 strings on the front. Remember that our name is always on the back. So we need to trim our yarn, get another piece of tape, and secure it down. Remember that you want to go long ways up the tape to make sure that it's really on there, and give it a good press. Okay, so now that we're on to the front side. Now with our wampum bead bracelets, we tied a knot right here. For our weavings, we're not going to do that. We want to pick, and I'm going to use this one because you guys can see it because it's very different. Again, we're picking for strength here, and this is a little long, but I'm the art teacher, so I can manage. So what you guys want to do is you want to pull the yarn through the needle. Make sure you get all of it. That little guy wants to stick out there. I'm using my fingernails to help me. There we go. Okay, and I'm giving it a pretty big tug. Making sure that it's all there. Actually, that is too long. So again, I'm making sure that I'm setting myself up for success on this first one. You know what? This is a pretty color. This would be a good one to start with. It's thick and strong. You can tell you can't break it. And I'm only going to pull off about that much. Manageable. So don't go grabbing really long things. So what you want to do for this first row is to pull it all the way through. So leave a tail, okay, and then loop it back around again and pull up. Next one, loop back around and pull up. And this step is really important, guys, because this will help keep your strings from being pulled too tight, and when we're done and we take it off the loom, this will also help from it unraveling all the way. So this first step is important. So you are winding it around each of the strings, and you can tell I'm not yanking really hard because I do want space in between my strings, and that I'm not shoving it all the way up here. I'm keeping it down. I'm going to do 3 rows of this, so let me flip over to time lapse so we can get that done. Okay, there's our 3 rows. I'm sure you guys noticed that I took my fingernails and I pushed it up along each of the strings, that I had to tighten some of it at the end, which is fine. So now that I have this extra, I might as well use some of it. So I'm going to take the needle off of this and get this color on here. All right. So first one was under, because I looped it around there. So that means second one has to go over, then under, over, under. Then pull through and then push up. Then opposite, because this is over the string here, it has to go under on the way back. So under, over, under, over, under, over. Now when you want to pull through, you don't want to yank. Okay, don't yank on it. See how it made the string go in? You don't want your string to go in. You want them to stay straight. So just use your fingernails or your fingers and push up. And then keep going with this under over pattern for each row, the opposite of the row before. I hope that makes sense to you. I think I can get one more out of this. Oops, see, look, make sure that you're following the pattern. And again, make sure you're not yanking on the strings. So I keep pushing up, and then I wove to the end so I can take that off. So now we can go back to this one, and you are allowed to pick as many colors as you want to make it interesting. So we have to go under this one, over, there we go. So when you pull your new string, you've got to pull the entire length through. So that's what I was saying, don't make it too long. And Miss Carol's going to make an executive decision here and shorten that one and put that back for somebody else to use. Your tail should be about that long, and then lift and press up. And again, like I said, you guys are allowed to change colors as many times as you want. See, I didn't pull it too tight. Now, the thicker your thread is, the faster your loom will fill up. So just be mindful of that.
Staff members,
Okay, artists, I'm going to stop there for this week. This should be about as much as you can get done in your time allotted for art. We are going to fill up the whole thing. I'll show you some different techniques next week that you may want to incorporate into yours, and I'll show you how to take it off the loom next week. Have a great week, and I hope you guys are really creative.